Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I am Cora. I am coming here today to speak to you sorry, I'm just making sure everything is working. There we go. Okay, here I am. Hello, everyone. Hello. If you are able to be with me live today, I would love if you said hi. Let me know that you're here. And at any point that I'm talking, you can ask me a question. Of course, if you do listen to this as a replay in our group feed or in the media section, you can give a little hashtag replay, let me know you watched it, and you can ask any questions in the comments as well at that point, and I will go back and answer them there for you. So let's get right to it. Today, the purpose of today is to explain this term, overshoot. I've gotten a lot of questions about overshoot, especially in the form that you can submit at any time to ask questions. So I'm wanting to speak to it today. And primarily, the purpose of today's chat is to explain biologically why this happens. So, what exactly is this overshoot thing that you hear about, and why does it happen? What's happening in the body when this is occurring? Why is it a necessary part of the recovery process? So I'm going to be answering that specific question and hopefully helping you understand that a bit better today. So let's get right to it. Let's start with what is this term I'm talking about? What is overshoot? If you have not heard of it before. Essentially, overshoot implies when someone who is recovering from an eating disorder, from weight loss, from a place of energy deficit in the body, or perhaps even illness, and they gain weight to a place that is higher than what their pre-weight loss weight was. So perhaps they gain weight to a place that is higher than what they were before their eating disorder or before their illness. That is what is meant by the term overshoot. And it is a part of this recovery process that your body finds itself in for a time period before it then settles to the place where it wants to be naturally, where it wants to sustain itself for the rest of its life and thrive naturally. So I don't actually like the term overshoot. I am using it today and I use it in my practice because it seems to be the term that most of you are aware of or understand. And so I use it, but I'm going to tell you why I don't actually like that this is the word we use. Because when we use the word over, especially in our Western society, this term over has a negative connotation to it. In our society, anything to do with excess or more than or pleasure has this negative connotation. And so when we say over, it implies that something was done that shouldn't have been done. Something is more than what should be, when in actuality, this overshoot place is exactly what should be happening. It is what needs to happen. It is completely the right thing to do. So it actually isn't going over anything. It is the thing that needs to happen. So this is why I don't actually like using the word overshoot, because it has a negative connotation when in actuality this is precisely the right thing that needs to happen. The other danger with this term and other terms is often in the recovery process there is a target weight that is set out. Perhaps you've had experience with this when you've been given a target weight to shoot for or that you yourself expect to get to. And the danger with this is that I nor you know where your body wants to end up being. I don't know, and you don't know where your body wants to end up. And so if we have too much focus on this target weight, and then if or when your body goes over this amount of weight, then that's what brings in this panic or fear or guilt or shame and this desire to pull back. And this pulling back at that point in this recovery process can be very, very damaging and detrimental. You worked so hard to get there that we can't pull back at that time. So having too much focus on this target weight and this idea of overshoot can be a danger, rather than trusting your body to do what it needs to do and land and be where it needs to be for the amount of time that it needs to be at. Now, this can be a risky thing to talk about, and I understand that because this can bring up a lot of fears. The idea of gaining weight can bring up a lot of fears, and the idea of gaining weight or reaching this overshoot place can be very scary and can freeze some people to do this work. But even with that, I feel this is a very necessary thing to talk about and should be talked about more, because if you can understand why this happens, if you can understand exactly what is happening in your body when this is occurring and why your body is doing this and why this is a necessary part of the recovery process, then we can start to take away some of that guilt or shame, because you can do the work of knowing that this is just what your body is supposed to be doing. So if we can do the work of talking about this more and gaining that acceptance that this is part of the process, then I think that's very important. Another reason I think it's important to talk about is to have that acceptance piece, but also to prepare you for what's probably going to happen, what might happen. And then that means that you can start now to do the work that really matters. And that is the internal work of working towards knowing that you are worthy despite no matter what weight or size you are. And that could be the work that you focus on. If you can prepare yourself for this weight gain and this overshoot to happen, you can do the work now of working towards knowing that you are worthy no matter what size or weight you are. So let's get into why this happens and what's happening. I'm just going to take a sip of my. So to help explain, I'm going to use an analogy of financial debt. And this is an analogy that I got from Tabitha Farrar years ago, and I've been adapting and using ever since. So big thank you to her. So my friends, to help explain, I made a little diagram because I don't like technology. I'm comfortable with paper and I visually learn. So this is going to help me and hopefully you. Okay, so financial debt. When you have lost it's a very big mug, Jasmine. Yes, it's one of my favorites. It's my coffee mug. Okay, so when you are in financial debt, so let's give you a scenario. You have lost your job. For a while, you're probably okay. For a while, you can live off what you have and still, you have some savings or whatnot. But over time, you are not taking in money. And so over time, you start getting less and less and less money. And less money to then spend on things that you need to spend it on. And eventually you get to this place we call debt. So when you are in financial debt, what happens? What do you do in this place? When you're there, you're probably only paying for the necessities. You're only giving out money where you need to, what you need to spend money on in your day to survive. On top of that, you're probably also putting things onto a credit card. So you're putting things into a system because it means you don't have to pay it right now, but it means you're racking up a list of things that you need to pay off later. What else is happening when you're in energy debt? Probably you're racking up a list of things that you need to repair or fix. So in your house, maybe something happens to your car and your car breaks down, but you don't have money to actually fix it. So that goes on the list. Maybe things like you need to get your carpet cleaned. Maybe you need to change your windows, buy a prescription, all these things that you make a list of that need to be attended to, but that you can't attend to because you don't have that extra money, because you need whatever money you have to just live. So you make this list and you build up this rack of things, and your house and your surroundings probably get more and more disheveled, right? You start living in a place that is full of repairs that need to be made. Not fun. So Then you get a job. Yes, finally, you get a paycheck and you start getting paychecks. But just because you get that first paycheck doesn't mean you can immediately go and attend to those things that need attending. It doesn't mean you can immediately go book that flight to Costa Rica because you have so much other things you need to focus on. So what do? You start building up those paychecks. This is very awkward. Okay. I really want to show you my diagram. Okay, so you start building up paychecks. You build and you need to build upon them. One needs to build on top of the other so that you can get more and more money saved until you have an excess. Until you have an excess amount of money available to you. Now, you have a savings account. You have this excess available. So what happens when you have a savings account? Then you have a priority list. You have priorities that you need to attend to, right? You can't just go off to Costa Rica, like I said. First, you need to pay off all those outdated bills. You need to pay off that credit card bill. And before you can attend to your car, that carpet, your windows, those things that need repairing, you actually need trust. So you need to have trust within yourself that not only do you have enough money now, but you will have enough money consistently coming in. You need to trust that this new job you have is going to be secure and give you money on a frequent basis so that you will feel safe spending money on these other repairs. You need to know that you can spend money on those repairs without it taking away your ability to live. Okay. So that's the financial debt analogy. Here's the thing. Your body is the exact same way. When you are in a place of energy deficit, which means your body is needing to spend more energy on all these things it needs to do, and it doesn't have enough to do those things. So you have less energy coming in than the amount of things you need to attend to. That is called energy deficit. So, exact same thing as the financial bank account, okay? So when you're in this place of energy deficit, you don't have the resources to do those fixings, to do those repairs. And here's a tricky thing about being in energy deficit. You can't see it on the outside. No one can see from the outside whether someone has this energy debt going on. And that can be a really hard part of the recovery journey when you can't see all this stuff that needs fixing. And it requires trust. Because the truth is that in energy deficit, there are things that haven't been attended to. You can't see that your body needs to do some organ repair. You can't see that there hasn't been enough energy to secure your hormones and your chemical messaging with it throughout your body to balance your mood, to get your period, to build a lining so that you can have a menstrual cycle, to protect your organs. These are the things you can't see, but that are happening underneath the surface. And because your body only has a certain amount of energy, it's spending it all just to go through those daily livings, and it hasn't had enough to spend in those other areas. So you start taking in more energy. Great, awesome, good for you. You start taking in more nutrients. Maybe you even start gaining weight. But just like in the financial analogy, just because you've gained some weight does not mean you will immediately start attending to those things that need repair. Why? Because just like needing a savings account, your body needs to build upon its energy collection. It needs to build up its energy resources and its weight and its energy reserves before it feels safe enough to spend money on those repairs. I call this recovery weight. That's what I prefer to say instead of overshoot, because this simply means this is your account. This is your savings account. This is the weight that is needed for recovery operations to happen. Your body needs to know that there is an excess savings account to pull from so that it can do the repairs that it needs to catch up on Just like that list of repairs when you were in financial debt, the house, the carpet. Your body needs to know that it has energy to spend to repair your organs, to get your hormones back in gear, your digestion back in gear, without taking away from your daily living. And so when we talk about overshoot, it's this place where your body feels trusting to be able to do all that repair work it needs to do. And it will only do that when it feels safe and secure and has those reserves. Now, of course, the problem and the hard thing about this is the idea of gaining weight and being in a larger body is hard in our society. And so when it comes down to it, and the fear that you may be feeling about reaching not only your set point weight or your target weight, but this overshoot place comes down to the fear of that are instilled by diet culture and what it means to be in a larger body. And that is then, therefore, the work that really needs to be done. I hope that this has made sense. Overshoot is necessary. And again, overshoot. Getting to recovery weight is a necessary part of recovery, because this is when your body will finally feel able to do the repair work. And here's the thing, when it has done all those repairs, when it has ticked off all those boxes, just like you in your house when you're coming out of debt and you've been able to say, I have fixed my car, I have fixed my walls, I have fixed blah, 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 I've gotten my haircut. I can now just live comfortably. I can just now go back to regular living. It's just like your body being able to say, okay, we have done all that repair. We've done all that fixing. We've fixed this and we've fixed this and we've fixed this. And I feel trusting that energy is going to be coming in now, all the time, whenever I need it. I trust that now I'm going to have energy for my life and that I'm not going to go back into a famine. Then it will also go, and it will relax, and it will settle to the place where it just wants to be, where it wants to thrive and feel healthy and be able to comfortably live. So that is all my way of saying that if your weight does go higher than what you expected, if you continue on with recovery and continue giving yourself energy so that your body doesn't get freaked out again, that you're going to restrict it, as long as you keep doing the actions that keep building its trust, then it will settle. It will settle to where it wants to be. I hope this makes sense. I think that was a lot, and I'm reaching a bit of a freeze in my brain. So if you have any questions, let me know. You can send me a direct message or an email or in the comments, ask away. I know there's lots more to be said about this topic and how to address the fears, but I hope this helps you understand why this happens, why it's necessary and why it needs to happen, and why it's so okay. It's just your body's way of figuring itself out and getting healthy again and repairing itself, and doesn't last forever. Okay? Okay. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.